Hello, people. Today I have with me a man with a resume spanning live action, Western animation, and anime, with roles such as number one and number two on Kids Next Door, Sai on Naruto Shippuden, and Shoutmon and Cutemon on Digimon Fusion, Mr. Ben Diskin.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
How are you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for
Oh, you're
asking.
doing lovely. No. Right. Right. So first off, what is it that got you interested in acting?
What got me interested in acting was I was forced into this industry against my will. Sort of, technically, kind of. My parents put me into the industry when I was technically still in my mother's womb. They already signed me up with an agent, so I've been in it since forever. Uh, but I guess what really got me into voice acting specifically was just the fact that I could have anonymity and still get to act and basically have my cake and eat it too.
Like, did you just, when you were a kid, did you just say to yourself watching cartoons, I want to do this?
No. What happened was I would audition for like things like radio stuff as like a 6 year old, and people would hire me because I could take direction reasonably well for a kid. But what got me into really was I booked this job. It was for the role of Junior Healy on Problem Child, the animated series. Yeah, that's right. There was an animated series for everything back then, and
And this is based on the Macaulay Culkin movie or whatever? Was it
yeah,
Macaulay Culkin?
no, it wasn't Macaulay Culkin. It was I forget. I totally don't remember the kid's name.
Oh,
But yeah, it was like with him with John Ritter and like him being a problem child. That was
eh.
the whole point of the movies. They destroyed stuff, hence the title. And basically, I would just sort of sit there and I auditioned for it and I tried it and I liked it because even my friends who actually watched the show didn't know it was me. When I was a kid doing on camera work, I did a movie called Kindergarten Cop, and I had like this legion of like weird kids just following me around the school, pointing at me, saying "Kindergarten Cop, Kindergarten Cop," asking for my autograph, trying to be my friend, then realizing that I wasn't famous, and then treating me like God. I tricked them into thinking I was famous, and I realized I really don't like this. I still want to act, but I really don't like the way this feels. And so the fact that I could do a cartoon show and nobody knew it was me, even my own friends, I was like, this is awesome. This is actually what I think I want to do. This is really cool.
You wanted to stay under the radar, but still have people know who you are without knowing who you were.
Exactly. Wait, what?
Basic saying, people not know who you are, but they hear you, basically.
There you go. Yeah.
You could go incognito.
hmm
What was it like when you got your first job? Like, what was it like? Was it like confusing to you?
I my first animation job wasn't too confusing because I'd been doing voiceover in general since I was like, 6 or so. But it was really it was kind of frustrating at first because the first season of the show, it was just me recording by myself. They,
Hmm.
they didn't want me to be in there with the adults. And I really wanted to be in there with the adults because I wanted to see like what all the other characters sounded like. So at first it was just kind of me by myself, but then for the second season they said, okay, if you want to act with the adults, okay, and they put me in there with them, and so this is where I got to meet like Nancy Cartwright and various other E.G. Daly was on the show, and like all these various characters actors who would come in. Cree Summer came in to do some roles too, and I was like, oh my gosh, these are the people who I watch, who do all the cartoon characters that I like. And that was actually just really kind of like fun. Like, oh my gosh, that's Elmira from Tiny Toons.
Hmm.
That's Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. Oh my gosh, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah. And what are some of your favorite roles that you've done?
My favorite roles, boy. I never know what to say about that, but I'd say probably, uh, oh God, probably Kids Next Door, number one, number two, because that was like my first really big show. But I also got to play Venom on Spectacular Spider-Man. He's like my favorite super villain. I get to be on Digimon now, which is like this like thing I really liked as a young guy. So it's just cool to kind of get to come back and be on that. I can't pick a favorite, man. It's no fair. You can't ask me.
It's like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
But when you okay with Kids Next Door, did you originally audition for both number one and number two?
No, Kids Next Door was this is one of these things that, like, people don't really understand just how much luck can go into, where you go in this industry. For the role of number one and number two, when they were auditioning these characters, um, Tom Warburton had in his mind somebody cast already to play number two. I don't remember the lady's name, but she played Angela Anaconda in the series Angela Anaconda,
Hmm.
which was like this thing that was back in the 90s.
That was like
Anyway,
that paper cutout stop motion
yes,
thing or whatever.
that's the one. So he wanted her to play number two, and he had his mind set on that. Um, Colette Sunderman talked to him and said, you should probably just put this role open for audition just in case you find somebody you like. And he's like, okay. So I tried out for the roles of number four and number two. Obviously, I didn't get number four. That went to D. Baker. But after my number two audition, he said to Colette, oh boy, I got to tell my friend that she's been recast. I got to hire this guy. So I wound up getting the role of number two, which I never would have gotten to had it not been for just Colette saying, listen to other people, just in case. So then what happened was it came time to record the pilot episode. They at first it was going to be Tom Kenny to play number one
Ooh.
because Tom Warburton really likes Tom Kenny. He worked with him on a different short that he'd made called Kenny and the Chimp. So obviously, who doesn't like working with Tom Kenny? He's awesome. So he was gonna have him be number one, but it really didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. So instead, he said, "Okay, we're gonna hire a real kid." So they hired a young 12-year-old boy to come out and play the role of number one. Well, that was fine. He did a good job. Unfortunately, his voice changed, and he no longer sounded like a 12-year-old, so they had to recast again. And so Tom just said, okay, you know what, let me just listen to, like, I'll have Dee and Ben try out for number one as well, just to see if I like one of them, because they're already here. So I tried out for number one. He liked that. And he said, okay, you know what, that's going to be number one. We're going to go with Ben. So I wound up being one and two in it, and for the pilot episode anyway. Then, of course, the show had to go on to win this Cartoon Network Big Pick. It was like this big choice where you had 10 different cartoon shorts to vote on and choose from. So viewers got to watch all of them and then pick the one they liked the most. Kids Next Door became a series because it won that. And then it went on to go into hyperspace. It made like 6 seasons of it, like bing, bang, boom. So, but none of that would have happened had it not been just for like Colette saying, listen to people audition for number two. I would have tried out for number four, lost, and that would have been it.
Right. But did you actually record like for both number one and number two at the same time? So was it like you were talking to yourself, or did you record them separately?
Yeah, we definitely recorded them at the same time.
So that was that weird.
No, it's I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of like, split personality. I don't know, but it was very easy for me. I don't know. I just find it fun to just talk to myself and play two different things at once. So it wasn't a big deal. No.
Right. And I've looked at your resume, like the amount of work you've done, and around the time you did Kids Next Door, you started doing anime work. Like you started being on Naruto, Bleach, things like that. And what is it that made you want to start doing anime too?
Oh, I'm an anime fan. I love anime. So this was like the first anime I ever saw was Sailor Moon. And I remember watching and going, what is this? I don't even like, why do her eyes turn into giant upside down U's when she's happy? This is weird. But the first anime that I absolutely fell in love with was, and I'm sure you're going to be shocked by this because, gosh, nobody likes this, Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, oh my God, I want to be on this show. And I was too young to understand that it was recorded in Canada. There was no way I could just like be on the next episode because it was not being recorded. It had all been recorded like several months ago. But I was like, oh, I want to do this. I really want to do this. And so I got this audition from Studiopolis through my agent for an anime, and that almost never happens. I think there's been like 2 anime that have ever come to me through my agency in the past ever. And it was for this show called Blood Plus for Cartoon Network's Adult Swim, based on Blood the Last Vampire. And I auditioned for it. I auditioned for the role of like the sexy male lead guy named Haji. I didn't get that guy. That went to Crispin Freeman, who has that naturally sexy voice. But I was able to book the role of Kai, who was the vampire main character's adopted brother. And I was thinking to myself, okay, this guy, he's a human. He's probably going to die in like the first episode, but I'll get to be on an anime. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Yay. It turns out he doesn't die. And in fact, he's the main character throughout the entire series for like all 50 episodes. So my very first dubbing experience was like this main character in a big series, and I got to learn how to do anime by doing that.
And was it difficult? Like, because you were doing Kids Next Door at the time, so was it weird doing this process over like doing Kids Next Door?
I don't think I was really doing Kids Next Door at the time because this was really like 2008 was when I did Blood Plus. Kids Next Door, I think, edited in like 2004, 2005. So it
Oh,
had been a
weird. I
few
thought I
years.
thought it ran longer than that.
Not at least during the recording process. Maybe they just spaced it out over a longer period of time, airing the episodes. But no, I'd already been done with Kids Next Door by the time it was time to do this, and it was just, I mean, for me it was weird because I didn't know how any of it worked. Like I didn't realize what the ADR beeps were. I just heard like a bunch of beeping in my head and I was like, wow, what's that? That was weird. And then they would look at me like, are you gonna record? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. So they would like play three beeps, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to start on the third beep. So I would always be like one beep early because you're supposed to start where the imaginary fourth beep would be. And so like David Barr, the engineer, was like, okay, Ben, no, you're supposed to come in where the fourth beep would be. And I was like, oh, where the fourth beep would be. Ah, I gotcha. Oh, okay, cool, thanks. But really, it was like he didn't realize that he was actually telling me like how to do the thing that I was supposed to know how to do before auditioning for a role like that. And that's how I learned, was just like stupid luck and just getting used to it on the spot.
Right. And I've seen that again. You've been on Spider-Man. You've said Venom's one of your favorite villains, but you've also been on things like Young Justice, and you're currently on Hulk Agents of S.M.A.S.H.
Yes.
What is it? Are you a big comic book person, or were you ever a big comic book person?
I was never a big comic book guy. I'm more of a cartoon guy. So like all of the Marvel things that I'm used to were all like the animated stuff. So like I would watch the original X-Men series from the 90s, the Spider-Man series from the 90s, and all that sort of stuff. So that's how I found out about all these characters. I did own for a brief period of time all of the Venom Lethal Protector series of comic books, which are uh it was the 90s. Hey, kind of, like not that great, but that was like as close to being like a comic book collector that I ever came to. But no, it's all been just straight up animation for me.
And it was like, because I've always wondered, whenever I see things like that, I've always wondered if they're on a comic book show. Like, I've always wondered if they were comic book fans, because I always thought that'd be interesting.
Well, quite a few people really are. But that's really more of a coincidence. Like, it doesn't really affect whether or not you get the job. Like,
Right?
nobody
Because
says like,
that's.
"Hey, so are you up to date? You reading the latest issue?" No. Oh, then get out. Like that doesn't happen.
You better keep track of Spider-Man, or you're not going to keep this role.
Wait, which series? The Ultimate Spider-Man Unlimited? Wait.
You don't know? It's
No.
like, uh, it's like, because you're also on Star Wars, and I've always wondered, because same thing, like if you were a fan of Star Wars.
No, I'm not. Oh my
Oh,
God. Every time I've been on, Dave Filoni, the guy who directs and like I'm assuming he's also a producer on the show. He is like just a Star Wars encyclopedia. Like it's amazing all of the stuff that guy knows. And he can just like rattle it all off like oh yeah, it's just nothing. It's no big deal. And I'll just sit there and he'll give us like the whole history of like the characters, the planet we're on, what's going on in the Star Wars universe right now. And I'll just sit there going, uh-huh. Okay.
slowly nod your head, just like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. But really, I'm just going, I have no idea what any of this stuff is. I really hope I can figure this stuff out. But and then recording the actual show, it's actually pretty straightforward. He makes sure everybody knows what they're doing, so it's really not a big deal. But yeah, I think it would probably help if I were like a huge Star Wars fan.
Right. But, over the course, because you've done anime and Western animation.
Yes.
If you could pick, which do you prefer? If you do prefer either one.
Um, an actor's got to eat. So original animation is quite nice because anime does not, unfortunately, pay anywhere close to as well. However, in terms of which one I really like doing the most, I probably like anime the most. I mean, I'm an anime fan, and it's kind of a dream come true to get to do it for a living. So I would say probably anime.
Is the like because I've always wondered, because you've also done video game work, you've done the Naruto games, you've done Ultimate Alliance, Marvel, things like that, Mass Young Xehanort. Is that like, what's the process like for doing video games compared to TV, like Western
Um,
animation?
well, basically, it's usually kind of like a combination of anime and original animation because usually they don't have pre-existing mouth flaps for you to match, but it's always you just by yourself in a room with a microphone. So, um, most of the time when you're doing a video game, you don't get to hear what the other characters are saying to you. So the director will have to either read in or just try to explain the situation as best they can to you so that you understand what's going on. But recording a video game it's mostly it always depends on what kind of game you're talking about. Like video games have some of the most variety out there. With Western animation, it's mostly kind of cartoony stuff, but video games that can take you anywhere from very cartoony to extremely realistic, and it all really depends on what kind you're doing.
Hmm. All right. Thank you so much for letting me interview you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show.
Is there any advice you can give to aspiring actors or voice actors?
I would say just don't give up and don't let the lack of work get to you, because this happens to everybody. This industry it's not a cutthroat industry in the sense that people are mean to you and trying to stab you in the back, but it's a very, very competitive industry because there are people out there who are incredibly talented, who have been doing this for years, decades, who show absolutely no signs of being ready to quit and continue to get work. So it's really hard as a newcomer to break in, but once you do, it becomes one of the absolute best industries to work in. So just don't give up.
All right, and thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.